Hello world, my name is Tim Russick and welcome back to another daily game dev video. I'm a developer of a game called Battleborn Tactics, which is now on Steam and you can wishlist it. Link will be down below. But today we're talking about the Over-justification effect, what it is and how it can affect the progression systems in your game and the motivations of your player. This is a psychology term, okay? This is a term in psychology and it sounds kind of weird because it's not really self-explanatory of what it is. Like when you think of like the gambler's fallacy or something like that, it totally, you can kind of get a visual of what it is. At least I can. Over-justification effect, what the hell is that? Well, it is a term for a psychological effect where when you extrinsically reward someone from doing for doing something, you can take away their motivation after you stop rewarding them. So what does this mean? So if you ask your buddy to come over and help you paint the house or whatever, and your buddy comes over and helps you and paint it, you guys have fun and it's cool, and you know whatever, you give him a beer, it's all good. You got your house painted. If you offer to pay your buddy and then you pay him X amount of dollars an hour, but then you stop paying him, he kind of feels weird, like, what, why am I okay? What, I was getting paid for this? And I think friends are probably maybe a bad example because friends are more likely to help you out. But if you think about a neighborhood kid or something, right? They'd be less likely to kind of be like weird. And players are the same way. And this is really, really important because it's one of the things I've been studying for Battleborn Tactics is like how much of the game is progression and reward, because it's a roguelite, right? Like I want to give you these rewards on death to like go back into your next run. When you capture an enemy, I want to give you that enemy as an unlockable character to like then start your next run with. But I'm trying to explore like how much should I incentivize extrinsic rewards because of this effect. So like if a game is fun and there are no rewards, players will play the game with no rewards because it's fun. But if a game is fun and there are these rewards, there are these rank up systems, there are these progression systems. Call of Duty comes to mind, right? With their 18 million levels of you do this and you level up this gun and you get this and all. If there's all this extrinsic stuff, you lose your motivation to keep playing the game after you finish that stuff. And in something like Call of Duty's case, they let you never run out of shit. That's like their strat, right? And I bring up Call of Duty because Nicole's been playing Call of Duty and she's been literally working her way through every gun. Now it's getting her to use other guns that she wouldn't have normally used, right? Because she has to rank them up and then she unlocks skins and all this stuff. And she's definitely on the achiever spectrum. So like she's 100% Assassin's Creeds and shit, which I don't understand, but I don't got the time for that shit. But that's the kind of player she is, right? And then so what she's doing is like she'll play this gun or this, this thing, whatever the system is telling her to use. She 100%s it and then just never picks it up again. And it's weird because like given the sandbox of something like Call of Duty, the game looks fun, it's not for everybody, but like you can play it and have fun. And if you strip away all of the extrinsic rewards, you're just left with this like, I want to play it to play it, right? And that could be motivating in itself. But what happens sometimes in some of these games is they give you these extrinsic rewards, and then you run out of them, and then you feel disincentivized to keep playing. Because before you were getting something from playing the game, now you're not, and it feels weird. It feels way worse than just never getting anything, right? That's why like I bring up the whole like, neighborhood kid or somebody helping you out to come paint your house or something. If you pay somebody for a job and then you stop paying them, it's like way worse than like never paying them at all, right? Just like using the social, there's a term for that too. Like when just like social currency or social karma or whatever, to like, like your friends will help you out. They'll help you move. They'll help you do stuff. You help them. And that's like, it's kind of understood in communities that like people help each other. Whereas like if you pay somebody, then it becomes transactional. And the second it's transactional, it's constantly like, how do I maximize my transactional value? And then when it's this transactional thing, it completely disincentivizes you from going once there's no transaction anymore. And so how am I applying this to my game and like kind of what am I thinking about? Well, I thought about any time that I give extrinsic rewards. For me personally, this is just more of my kind of philosophy. It's not really like a game design practice or anything, but it's just kind of what I'm applying to the tactics game I'm making, which is it's a strategy roguelite. And the idea is that like you've got a group of animals. You attack and capture other animals, so you can capture other animals and put on your team. And currently the way it works is once you capture an animal, you unlock it permanently. So when you die and you start your next run, you can start with that animal if you want. And each animal does different things and they have unique abilities and move patterns and stuff. But I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking like, hey, once you run out of animals, are you just going to stop playing the game? Right? Like, are you just done? Like, how can I incentivize that? And then I was saying, well, I think not to get all loot box on you, but the randomization in the RNG might be enough to counteract that. So it's not as simple as like playing with a gun and getting kills, it's not so much random, whereas like it's predictable, right? You play a game, you get X amount of kills with a gun, that's kind of happens every game and you're constantly moving forward. Whereas like if you have to capture an animal to unlock it, the randomization of the zones, because there's like a dirt zone, there's a grass zone, there's a snow zone and all this stuff. So the zones are randomized, but then the animals within the zone are also randomized too. So one, you have to actually encounter the animal. Two, you have to be in a position to capture the animal and not kill it, because it can't, it might end your run or something like that. And then three, like you've got to be able to afford it because it costs a currency of apples in the game, which you only get by killing other dudes. I shouldn't say kill. People don't like to kill animals, man. That sounds so... Yes, I'm making an Animal Fight Club game, okay? Don't get mad. Anyway, so I think the randomization of this might help with this effect, but I also think it might frustrate some players, and I'm thinking about Nicole, because she's definitely, like I said, an achiever. When she plays the game, she wants to 100% the game, and so I'm just thinking like, oh, will that be frustrating to players if they're constantly trying to unlock, like let's say they got like one character, right, the sheep, and so they just continually play and like they can't get the sheep to appear for whatever reason. It might be a little frustrating. So those are kind of like my thoughts on how I'm going to apply this, but I'm worried about this too, because I've seen this happen, whereas like people, they get done with the content in the game. This even happened with Phallophobia. In the Steam version of Phallophobia, I added a heart effect in every level, and there are players that will play it through and then they go back and they get all the heart effects and then they're done. And it made me wonder, like, okay, what's the solution to that? Is it to lessen the rewards so that they can play for intrinsic motivation? Or is it to increase the rewards and just give them so much more to, like, constantly go after? And I actually think this game, Phallophobia, is, like, kind of a static experience, right? There's not really much you can do with that content. It's, like, the same every time you play it. Whereas this, it's got a little more variety to it. So I think... theoretically, we're in a good spot with this, but it's definitely something you should think about in your game. If you're going to be designing progression systems, you do want to think about what you're incentivizing and what you're rewarding extrinsically, specifically. Like what actually is a thing they do for fun, and what actually is a thing they get a reward for doing. Because if there's one thing I've seen from players, it's that sometimes they'll just do the thing that's less fun but way more rewarding over and over and over and over and over. Right, there's a great Soren Johnson quote. He's the guy that did Civ 4 and Old World and Off-Road Trading Company, and he says that given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of a game, and that's so true. They will do the most rewarding, boring thing over the least rewarding, fun thing, and that's a problem with these extrinsic rewards, right? And this over-justification effect is part of that. So it's something to keep in mind. That's all I got on this, though. I want to say thank you to these people right here, and I really, really appreciate you being part of Patreon. It's actually helped me buy a new camera. I got a new camera set up. If you notice, you could see how bad the beard actually is because it's in HD now. So I want to say thank you to the patrons, everybody on this list. If you want your name on this list, you can head over to patreon.com/GameDevUnderground. And there's lots of cool stuff to help you build, finish, and launch better games. Lots of content like this over there. Cool stuff. But that's it. My name is Tim Roswick, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.